Okay. Last round of the first block. So that's six weeks on the spin and a week off for the Pro Day boys. I saw Bo Farrance is he's back somewhere in the UK, I assume, unless there's a very authentic East End pie and mash shop knocking around in Argennes, which I find difficult to believe. But there were largely, I think, kind of went to script in terms of home wins, but three notable away wins.
Yeah.
Provence over Grenoble, some of us called it. 1 point, although I believe I haven't actually seen it because it wasn't in the highlights. Roman Trieu misses a bit of a goober at the end here
Yeah.
to allow Provence, but that's an amazing win for them. Grenoble, by my calculations, last time they lost at home in the league section of the top 14 was January 2024.
Okay.
Um,
Who was that to?
Again, was
Brive?
it 24, 23? No, it was against Dax.
Oh,
The
wow.
year when
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 Dax were good.
Dax came
Yeah.
sixth, I think, and then got beaten by 60 points in the barrage in
Yeah.
the same fixture. But yeah, great win for Provence. Um, the other notable one, the really standout performance, I guess, of the round, always back the lack away at the
Yeah.
Christina Aguilera. Fantastic win for them. Fantastic start to the season for Aurillac. Um, Biarritz, who as is the want of most Pro Day sides, have generally been pretty good at home, even through their slightly chaotic patches in the last couple of seasons. So that's an amazing win. And then the FRUK game on
Although
the
that
Thursday.
Biarritz team did not look particularly strong, I have to say. It's looking a bit, they're kind of one of those teams that like some weeks you'll see like the team and you're like, I don't really couldn't tell you much about some of these players. And then other weeks you'd be like, Jesus, they've got quite a few big names, haven't they? Um, and this was one of the weeks where you're like, don't like I feel like they're better than this. So yeah, I think I don't know whether it's injury, it must be injuries that because there's a few players not playing there, like Killian Germany, Kibarigi for the starters, Dolagarai at 10. Yeah, a
Yeah, and
few.
it seems like one. I think looking at selections as well, I think it looks like one Aurillac either saw that or genuinely targeted as well. I guess maybe
Yeah.
ahead of the break, like Lochner and Rogers in the front row, um, pushed Papinashvili out to the wing. Who I think he's up there with the top point scorers. Nailed one sort of
Is he?
proper 60 meter absolute like howitzer, which was very cool. But yeah, amazing win for them. And the other away win, which was the FRUK game, was Van over Dax, which I think you saw all of. I caught bits. It was
Yeah.
not the prettiest thing I've ever seen. I think it's
No.
fair to say.
I think Van played down to Dax's level, if that makes sense. Like they just because they sent a really strong side. Like there was no way looking at those two teams on paper that should be a 1 point game. And actually, Dax left a hell of a lot of points out there. Like Cerisier, his kicking was he had a bit of a mixed bag. Like he did some lovely stuff, but also left quite a few points out there that and Dax could easily and should easily have won that game. Which against a pretty much full noise van. Like they picked all the big names: Dave Cherry, Maxime Lafarge, Ruru, Boutier played. Tokola was on the bench. There was no Mako, no Saili, but other than that, like the pack, no Gorison. But you had Callum Mahoney, you had Pedemonte, Joe Edwards was great off the bench. Yeah, Sodrano at tight head, like and to win by only 1 point is actually quite bizarre. I think like Dax were kept themselves in the game. They made a bit of a scrap. I think my big issue for Van is that they need to play some rugby. Like they've got the better team. They've got certainly in that first half. Dax were blowing. We know Dax have got some massive you.
Heavy.
They are heavy men, and they're quite old as well, which Joey Worsley was kind of quite quick to point out in commentary. Like the fitness isn't going to be there. Like against a team that, like Van, who have come down from the top 14 versus a low budget team in Pro D2 with some big heavy men, they were blowing in that first half. And that's when you've got to like, you know, they should have torn them to shreds then and actually played some rugby, but they just kick it. They just kick it way too much and don't really. It's such a limited game plan. Like it's not even like they're, it's
I'm
not
not,
like
I'm not, I get it in this game. I don't, I'm not sure I agree entirely that it's all Van have got. I think
no, they can
maybe there's a
play
little bit
stuff,
of
but they just don't do it. Like they've got some really exciting players. Like Boutier is a fantastic, like as a second playmaker, and yeah, you could do so much with him off the back and like Ben McGall on the wing. Um, like they just didn't show much, and it's not even like the forwards are carrying and it's like this quick. It's not like a Claremont, for example, where yes, it's direct, but the forwards are looking to offload. It's more simplistic and more pragmatic than that. It's like the really boring 10-man rugby for a lot of it, which I get in a is an away thing in pro. It's very much an away. Well, it's an away tactic in world rugby, but looking at some of the away teams in the top 14 this weekend, like even that was very kicking based. But I just think when you're one of the best teams in the league against the one of the worst teams, the team that is bottom of the league, and you've sent your full noise team, you've got to go for it a bit more. I don't know whether that's probably shows how little I know about rugby, but
it.
yeah, I would like to see more
Fair.
from Van. I thought because given that I understood last year with going up to the top 14, they reigned it like being a bit more pragmatic, and they stayed in games for a lot longer than perhaps they might have done, and they didn't have any blowouts like we've already seen a couple of for Montauban. But don't know, just think coming down, you've got to assert yourself a bit more and play some like they should be racking
Maybe,
up big scores.
maybe, but yeah, I just don't think it happened. It just doesn't happen away from home. Would be my counterpoint to that.
Yeah.
Um, I think, yeah, we'll see. I didn't catch, I didn't see the whole thing, so perhaps there were more opportunities. Um, do you want to do like a little reflection on the first block then, as to
Well, yeah, that was going to be things we've learned from the first block. My point number one is that away wins are really tough. Like the fact that Brive lost at Biarritz, who then obviously lose to Aurillac in their next home game. But that Van v Dax game shows that. And that Brive game, like the big guns, their three big players play the full 80, and Van also then at Dax looked like they really struggled with a full noise team. So I think it does show that away wins generally are still really, really tough. And I feel like they have come down in terms of like it's almost reverted
a
to
little
kind
bit
of
to the norm?
old school pro they do a little bit maybe
Yeah,
compared to last year. That's my kind of first takeaway from the first block. I think that we will see, and they're like the good away teams from last year, Grenoble, Southampton have also been pretty crap away by comparison to last year. So yeah, I just think
yes,
there does seem to have been a reversion to home wins of blooming, well, away wins of blooming tough. My second point is also
nice.
last season counts for nothing because Southampton have been rubbish away. Grenoble have now lost at home, having been impregnable last year. Van not being, haven't blown people away. Provence have been pretty underwhelming. So I think we can kind of rip up a lot of last year's form book. Argent looked quite good. I don't think we can. We've got to. We're far enough into the league now that we can stop talking about last year. And I and
Yeah,
I and
that's
I'm
fair
looking at
enough.
myself when I say that.
One thing I would say on that is that, and I don't know if you can put this down as a bit of a learning, but I'd say I wouldn't I wouldn't want to make too many sweeping judgments until the end of the next block. And the reason for that is just purely how the fixtures fall a little bit. So I think Dax, okay, well, we thought they would struggle a bit coming into this year, but they've had a pretty horrendous set of fixtures for a first six. So their home games have been Brive, Oyonnax, and Van. had to go away to Provence, and then you kind of two, I guess, standard away fixtures in Valence and Soyo-Angoulême.
Yeah.
Like, you'd say two if they'd snuck past Van, two wins would probably be a brilliant result out of that. And I think, similarly, if you look at their next fixtures, Aurillac, Béziers, Agen, Carcassonne, Biarritz, Stade Montois, that is you would think, a slightly more favourable block. So I think there's probably a few teams here that I
Well,
imagine it's
certainly
fallen that way.
Bezier at home, Carcassonne at home, Stade Montois at home. That should
Yeah,
be those should be three
you
wins. And if they
you would
lose those or they only get one from three, then they're
they're,
struggling. Yeah.
they're stuck. Yeah,
I think you're right. I also think when you look at well, you may have been about to say this, but Van are still the team to beat because they don't know how many other teams have done it, but they have had four away games
yeah,
in that first block, which
and
so
a
for them,
second in the league.
yeah, you may have been about to come onto that before our unscheduled break, but you may have been about to come onto that. But Van have had four away games out of that block of six, which with the, as we're saying, being hard to get away wins, and they've got three of them and lost in the final minute on the other one. Like Joe Worsley was kind of getting stuck into them about their away form. It's like, they should be blowing these teams away. It's like they've also got well, two win. They've now got two wins and a draw,
And a
and
bonus
lost on the
point.
and a bonus point, losing on the final play in four away wins, and no one else is doing that, and no one else has
Yeah,
had that many away games. So it's
they'll
kind of
finish
like,
they'll finish top if you keep that form away from home.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's no two ways about it. Um,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah. Whereas Brive have had four home games. Who is the other away game?
although
Sorry. Oh yeah, he was like, oh yeah, Aurillac, Dax, and Mont-de-Marsan. Like those are the weaker teams. They're the ones that'll be struggling for relegation. So yes, they are, but even so, you still got to win them. Like Biarritz will be down there, and they they beat Brive away. So Brive at home. So yeah, um, the so I've just completely lost my train of thought. Nevers and Brive have had four home games,
okay.
um, and they're doing pretty well. So I don't
Who
know.
who would you say is sort of, if there is a side, maybe bar Colomiers, who are riding high at the top, but a side who have kind of surpassed expectations, or you think will be happiest coming out of this block? Who would, if you were the coaching staff, who would you be most happy with?
Well, one team that I think tipped for relegation or to be in the access match, who have been really impressive, Agen.
Yeah.
On the way back, it would seem. Um, they've they are what currently second, are they?
They're fifth.
Fifth,
Fifth.
but four wins from six games is pretty impressive. In fact, they're up there at all is pretty impressive, given where they've been the last couple of seasons and didn't make loads of signings. They've got a good young squad, a load of good kind of a group of players that seem to be all roughly the same age. Seems to be coming through them, and I know I just said they've had proportionally more home games, but Nevers as well seem to have a pretty young group with a couple of more experienced heads that coming through together. Two teams, yeah, they're the two teams that I thought might struggle a bit this year and have actually been pretty solid. Well, more than solid.
Yeah.
Who's impressed you?
I think well, there's three sides that stand out for me, which is a little bit greedy. I think one, Carcassonne getting two wins in the first six is really big. I think with the differential in budgets, the gap that certainly I'd maybe perhaps incorrectly, wouldn't be the first time predicted, between the leagues. That away win at Stade Montois is massive. I know
Yeah,
it's obviously a long season ahead, but I think they've shown enough thus far to suggest that they're going to be a tough side to beat, which is kind of all you can ask for, I think, coming up from National. I think Aurillac will be really pleased. That away win kind of changes the complexion of of the first part of the season. 3 from 6
Yep.
is pretty impressive. Having had to host one of those losses was at home to Van. And then the other one who I don't think we necessarily thought would be in any trouble, but it's perhaps whether they could continue the form of last year was Valence Romain, who I
Yeah.
think are where are they? Like they're sort of mid.
Sixth.
They're sixth. They've won four
Four
games,
wins from six. Yeah.
including obviously notably the win away at Provence. Yeah, they feel like they've very quickly become a properly sort of established Pro D2 side. Be interesting to see if they can continue it. And obviously I know they got the dusting at ONR a few weeks ago, but up to that point have been pretty impressive. So I think all of those guys will be pretty happy with their lot off the first six.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Carcassonne, the other team with four away games. So they are two wins from six, but four of them on the road, which, couple of cliches, but when you're new to a league, you want to try and make your home patch a bit of a fortress. Um, yeah, that was basically what I had. I had that one of my other points were Van of the team to beat. Carcassonne won't roll over. And it also conversely flip side of that, and Argenna on the way back, who I think we kind of touched on it last week. Are we jumping to conclusions on anyone in terms of who's going to go down, who's going to
Um,
struggle? I think
no,
that result for Biarritz that's not a good sign. We've not mentioned them in like the
yeah,
troubled bit. They are obviously they were -3, so they're on 7. Um,
yeah. I
but
think a
that
little
minus
bit.
three, that -3 makes. I mean, obviously it's still a long. We've had 20% of the season, but the picture looks rosier without that -3. But they are also only 2 wins from 6, and have. It's a weird one because they beat Brive at home, but then they lose to Aurillac. So
Yeah,
yeah, where'd you stand on Biarritz?
I honestly I don't know. I was fairly happy, not for them because I want to see Carcassonne do well, but I was fairly happy in my pre-season thoughts that I felt the gap between the two leagues was so significant that based on something like the access match stuff that it's going to be really tricky for Carcassonne. It feels like they've been brilliant, and I don't. I haven't seen enough Biarritz so far this year, either highlights or live, but I know what you mean. There feels like a certain ominousness about that. I don't know if that's a word, but about that loss, given how good they've been at home. It's sort of last year they were one of the last teams I think to crack, weren't they, at home
Yeah,
against Brive, who they've obviously already beaten this year. So yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it's going to be what it does feel like is that there's going to be, which is really exciting. Unless I guess you're in it, it feels like it could be like a proper scrap, and there could be, looking at it now, the bottom five as it stands. I think Angoulême probably have a little bit more quality. I still think Mont-de-Marsan are a better side than they've shown, but you wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised if those five are, you know, maybe things will even out a little bit with Aurillac given their budgets and things. But like it genuinely looks at the moment, it'll be interesting to see if that's the case after the next six, that there could be 4 or 5 teams sort of vying, which will make for some pretty exciting fixtures.
also not ruling out what we had last year, where you've basically got the bottom 9, bottom 8,
Yeah,
bottom
yeah.
half of the league
The
are
two the
all
two
kind of in
leagues.
danger until the last couple of rounds. Yeah, I think you're right on Mont-de-Marsan. I just wonder whether it's like an element of like they've now had quite a prolonged period. If you go back over
Kind of
a season and a hot,
decline.
like even the back end of the previous season, let alone last year's narrow scraping safety, where they're just losing a lot of games. There's a lot of like, yeah, they've lost the winning habit. Another cliche, but I don't know whether there's like they've just got there's a little bit of nous missing or something. Um,
Yeah, man to
they
think.
have conceded a lot of tries as well.
Yeah, yeah. The points difference is minus 111 after 6 games, which is pretty amazing. And the one win was that last minute victory over Van, wasn't it? Which is yeah, feels big now. It's amazing to think we're what 4 years ago was it? We went out there and watched them hammer Bayonne at the Stade Rondeau.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, things
Look at those
change
two teams
quickly.
now. November, yeah, November 2021. Not even 4 years ago.
Crazy.
Um, but yeah, their points difference in three away games is -94.
Yeah, a little bit.
Biarritz are minus
Not
90
great.
as well from three away games.
Yeah.
Um,
One thing I would say, just to maybe round off some of the Pro Day Death thoughts, maybe it's because now we can watch it. Like perhaps it's yeah, almost seeing too much of the rugby. I feel like there haven't been maybe beyond the kind of Grenoble melodrama of last week, which we kind of covered in the midweek preview recording. I feel like we've maybe been lacking a little bit of the sort of cliche mayhem. I haven't seen too many haymakers. Did see an opposition fly half and get taken out by a remote control castle at Carcassonne. That
yeah.
was that was really good. But yeah,
No, it was the
maybe
ref they nearly took out.
oh, was it the ref? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe a little bit more of that in the next block, please, if
There
you're
was that,
listening.
which
Oh, they do it sides.
a couple of people have sent us on Instagram that Nevers where the guy like wipes him out. I
Yeah,
think it might be Carcassonne. It's someone like it looks like it could be death. Like
yeah.
it just takes him out of the air and it's like straight red. Um, yeah, you make a good point. Make a
No,
good point.
no haircuts in the crowd as of yet. I feel this stuff maybe comes into its own a little bit more in winter. There's a little bit less to do. People are
Yeah,
sort of fully away from kind of cocktails on rooftops, and it's no, we're getting down to the rugby, and
there's
that's when it
yeah,
starts to get a bit funky.
and there's the odd like weekend where like Pro does like the only rugby as well. Like there's the odd
Yeah,
one, like fallow weekends or top 14 rest weekends, and there's like internationals maybe or like the well, there's a long season, Richard. We're only 20% of the way through. Like
we'll get there. We'll get there.
we'll get there.